Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Caleb
and Leslie
in real life. Listen, we're so excited that you stopped by to watch us or hear us. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe so you can always be up to date on when we release our new podcast every Monday.
Yep.
If you're listening via podcast, whatever platform you listen, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, or Android, whatever the case may be, please subscribe and rate our podcast as well. We would greatly appreciate that if you can rate.
We also want to thank those who have already done that too.
Absolutely.
It means a great deal, and we definitely want to be consistent and bring you just great content throughout the weeks.
Absolutely. So thank y'all.
Yeah, we're very grateful to have an audience.
Listen, please share this too with your friends and family. If you like it, share it, so that we can get this into many phones as possible.
Yeah, I think it's important to say we don't just do this for us. We do this because we think that we're not the only ones who think and believe and act like we do, and hopefully that when this podcast gets in the ears or other people view it, then they'll be able to relate to it.
Absolutely.
Say, I can get a lot out of that, right?
Yeah, we talk about stuff that we would want people, that we would like to hear.
Yeah.
So again, what our saying is, we may not have the tea, but we do have the milk, and that's marriage, inspiration, leadership, and kids. So we'll talk about those things, and those are things that we're interested in.
So what's today's topic going to be on?
What you got for us today?
I think today we will focus more on the inspirational / leadership.
Okay, all right.
Tag in the milk, and inspirational because hopefully something that we say will really inspire you. And also the leadership part comes in because we are talking about who you are versus what you do.
Absolutely.
And I say leadership because at the end of the day, we have to lead ourselves. If we don't lead anybody else, we lead ourselves.
That's right.
And Socrates, I don't know if y'all know of him, but he's a very, very well-known genius, philosopher, if you will. And he said this. He said, "To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom." To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And I feel like I could even unpack that sentence right there, because when you know yourself, you're confident and comfortable in your own capabilities, who you are. You don't have to try to put on airs, or when you get into other people's circles, you don't have to try to conform. You really live out of your being and not just out of your doing. And so with that said, I guess, Caleb, I could just kind of interview you a little bit. And if you want to throw it back on me, you're welcome to do so.
I'll throw it back.
But many of you may be saying, well, what does it mean? How do I define who I am? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
And I think even if you put that in Google, I mean, it's such a loaded sentence.
It is.
You'll have people that have, this is who you are, this is how you find out who you are, and that source might contradict with somebody else's source, and it's just a lot that goes into it. Would you agree, or are you just ready for me to interview you?
No, I definitely agree, and I'm definitely going to be throwing it back as well.
Goodness.
But no, I definitely agree with you, especially when you said Socrates, to know yourself is wisdom, is the beginning of wisdom.
To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom.
I think that's good. I mean, honestly, to know yourself, that means, honestly, when I hear that, I feel like when you know yourself, now you know the boundaries. And I think I think that's where a lot of us kind of stretch ourselves thin, where we don't put boundaries in our lives with people. So when you know yourself, you know your boundaries, and you're not trying or attempting to stretch yourself thin. If you know this is not who I am, therefore I'm not going to give my energy to it. This is not who I am, therefore I'm not going to give my time to it. This is not who I am, so therefore I'm not even going to give my thoughts to it. Sometimes we have stressed ourselves out and worried ourselves over stuff really that ain't even pertaining to us, that is out of our wheelhouse, that we can't control. And when you do know yourself, it's like, okay, I know when to let go and when to hold on, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, so I love that quote. That was awesome.
So even with us, I think we probably have some people who this is only their third time listening to us, our third podcast.
Yeah, this is our third episode.
Yeah. So
episode 3, by the way. I don't know if we said that.
So even with that being said, I think me giving you this little exercise that I'm about to walk you through will help people to know you more.
Yeah.
So I think to figure out a little bit about yourself, you can ask yourselves these 3 questions. So I'll start with you, Caleb.
Okay.
And maybe we can kind of deduce who you are through this.
You gonna answer too?
I might. I don't know.
Oh gosh. Okay.
If I feel like it. No, I'm just kidding. Question 1 is this. In 3 words, describe your personality.
My personality?
Yeah?
Okay. Fun.
Okay.
Analytical.
Are you?
Would you think so? You don't think so?
You just like wrap your brain around things before you make a decision
Oh, you know what?
or something?
Scratch analytical.
You mean like you process a whole lot, maybe?
Yeah, I'm
You're a
definitely.
processor.
So I'm very discerning. If that
Okay.
will.
So fun, discerning.
Discerning. Okay, so fun, discerning. And by the way, she did not go over these with me before.
They
this
can
started.
tell.
Yeah. All right. Fun, discerning, and I would say caring.
Okay.
What about you?
For me, I would say definitely quirky.
Quirky. Yeah, I get definitely. Yeah, I agree.
Quirky. I think I would also include in there maybe compassionate.
Yeah.
So I can see things from other people's perspective and be like, wow,
Yeah.
you know, I really feel for you. And then I would also say, let's see. It's hard, isn't
Throw
it?
it back. That throwback is real.
I would also say I have an element of confidence.
Quirky. What was it? Quirky, confident, compassionate, quirky, confident. Mm-hmm. I like that. You're right.
Would you disagree with me?
No, I agree. I think I see all of those elements in you.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just 3 words that I think would describe. I'm sure there are other adjectives that we can come up with.
Right, definitely.
That's just at least how I choose to perceive myself. And for me to believe that about myself is great, but for other people to see me how I see myself is like a total win.
It is, yeah.
That's cool to unpack.
I'm almost curious for those who are listening and watching, what 3 things would you say about yourself? Mm-hmm. And then what would your closest, your friends and family, do they see what you see about yourself? I'm interested to know that. So, hey, if y'all come up with that list of those 3 things and ask your friends and see what they say, your friends and family, see if they agree with you.
And if I think about it, if I wanted to, I could almost change out that confident for driven. I think that I'm very driven.
Focus.
Yeah, just when I see something, I'm a go-getter.
Yeah.
And once I put that thing in my mind, I have to go after it.
That is true. That is very true of Leslie. Mm-hmm. Very true. Sometimes I kind of have to be like, all right, let's think this out.
Yeah. All right, question number 2 is this. List 3, or let's just say 1, because that 3 throws us off sometimes.
Yeah.
List one of your most dominant interests.
My dominant interest. Mm-hmm. What I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
You answer that first, and then I'll answer it.
One of my most dominant interests is kind of pushing people to the next level. I really enjoy that. Just helping and also seeing other people succeed.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about that.
I think I'm very interested in...
Or you could also say something like bowling, It doesn't have to be deep.
Yeah, that's true. I do like bowling, but I'm very interested in, and maybe you can help me articulate this properly, insight. And basically seeing things from a perspective in which we may have not seen it before. Mm-hmm. So whether that be if I'm reading scripture, how can I see this in a way in which I haven't looked at this before? Or whether it be a conversation, how can we look at this from the other person's perspective, or how can we get a bird's eye view? So I'm very interested. I'm always interested in just a new perspective on maybe perspective is the word.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, maybe so.
Okay.
And then question 3, describe your character, including your virtues, vices, strengths, and weaknesses.
I think that I am loyal.
Yeah.
I honest. I can go to vices, maybe a procrastinator. I can, I guess, procrastinator probably my biggest vice. I'm sure you have some other things for me.
I'm not here to tear you down.
Okay. I don't know what other vices do you think I have? Let's get it interesting.
Food.
Oh, food. I don't see that as a vice though.
I do. It's preventing you from some of the goals that we've set several months ago.
Yeah, I'm like my son. He loves food. yeah, that's true. So, yeah, that's true. Food can definitely be. I like food.
Strengths and weaknesses.
It's good to me.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Strengths and weaknesses. I think I am. I almost feel like my character is my strength.
Okay.
Yeah, and my vices are more so the weakness. You know, I'm not well. Sometimes I don't do well in managing my time properly, and that comes to a detriment to me at times, or to the project that I may be working on.
Okay.
What about you?
I think for me, I am integral. I think I operate with a level of integrity.
Yeah.
I am again compassionate, or at least I think I am. Maybe some people would beg to differ. I would hope to say authentic.
Authentic, okay.
Also, I think, like you said too, that really does play to strengths. I think a strength for me is in authenticity too. Like, I've just been in circles where at the end of the day, I just have to be true to myself. And I think I can do that too, because I have been in a place where I've tried to kind of be a chameleon, or succeeded in that, and took on the role of other people, and the shoe didn't fit properly. It didn't fit right. So much so that I remember one time in middle school, I had somebody come up to me and they're like, "Stop trying to be somebody else," and it shocked me. I was like, "How are you in my thoughts? You don't know."
Right.
But ever since, from that day on, I was like, "Man, how can I be Leslie?"
Right.
And I think that really kind of gets into the crux of what we're talking about today. Like, you really do, I mean, your personality is your personality, but you really do have an opportunity to reinvent yourself, right? So some people, you may have mentors, or you may have people that speak into your life and shape who you are, but you really can create who it is you are and what your makeup is like. And I think I always like to bring it back to authenticity, to truly be yourself.
Yeah.
Do the things that you feel called to do. Like, for example, I said for me that I'm quirky. Now, that means that I may do certain things. Like, when I walk, sometimes I still walk on my tippy toes, Sometimes people will be like, "Man, you walk like a little kid," but that's who I am, I could be in the back of my mind, like, "Oh, I got to try to be flat-footed today." But no, I just teeter-totter around like a little bird sometimes, and that's okay. But I think when it comes to what you do, we put too much effort and energy into performance.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how did I make that person feel? What are they thinking about me, and not necessarily what I'm thinking about myself? I think a lot of times we put too much power in other people's hands and not enough in our own.
Right. And I think when you do that, you never win.
Yeah. Because
if you put it in their hands, one day they may like it and the other day they may not like it. And who's to say the version of you that they like, maybe that may be the version of you that you can't maintain, or that is the version of you that is not true to who you are. I believe Ralph Waldo Emerson said that imitation is suicide. So to imitate or be something or someone that you are not means you would have to kill the you that you are created, that you were created to be. And so that's why it's dangerous to put what do they think, or what image do they, if they like this of me, do they like this? And am I? And so you're always playing a character in a role with critics who are never happy.
Yeah.
And critics that you can't please.
Right.
I had a quote that said, why do things that's not like you to please people that don't like you?
That's true. And I would venture to say that the world, people are waiting to be who it is that you truly are. I know for me, for example, I'm a pastor, a preacher, speaker. Yeah. And I know for a while, just even being in the church world, even in certain circles, there would be times where I would feel uncomfortable because in the church experience that I had been in, or some of them, there's a culture of like hooping and celebration at the end of the message and preaching to the tune of an organ. And I celebrate that. So I don't want anybody to think like, oh, you're just a hater, you're hating on culture. Absolutely not. I love it. And I love people who can do it really, really well. I celebrate that. But I understand that authentic to me, like that's not something I could do. It's not something that I'm good at. It's not authentic and true to who I am. Yeah. And I remember the first time that I got up to do a speaking engagement outside of my home church, and I was preaching, and the organ came up behind me, and I was like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? Like, what is that? It threw me off. Right. Maybe I was ignorant. I was very young. I don't know. But it threw me off. And I remember just always feeling this pressure when I would go into a church that was not exactly like the style that I was used to. I would feel all of this nervous energy, and I would feel all of this pressure like, well, if I don't preach this certain way, they're not going to accept me, or they're not going to like me. They're not going to like my style. They're not going to like my flow. Right. And then one day I got liberated, and somebody said to me, hey, if that person invited you, they already knew who they were inviting. So they invited you for your gift, not for somebody else's gift. Absolutely. And I think sometimes when we go places, we're bringing other people's gifts. Like, oh, if I could just speak like this person, or if I could sing and run according to this person. And it's like, no, I invited you because I've seen what you can do. So I want you. And I remember just after a while, because I'm going to be honest, it took a couple of years to find my voice. Yeah. And when I found it and started being authentic to who I am, like, a preacher who gets a little twang in her voice sometimes when she gets excited, very personal and telling stories, there are people who are like, I like that. Thank you for showing me that there is more than one way to do this. Right. Even the culture that you're in, just not saying that I have to automatically assimilate or talk or speak or preach or whatever exactly how this person does it. I can do it in the style and the authentic anointing in which God has given me. And I think it's freeing when you show other people who you are.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And I think the world needs you. Not the you that you're trying to be, not the you that you want others to see. The world needs a genuine you. And honestly, it's a lot easier to go in life, to walk in life being you, because it gets heavy wearing those masks of other people or other personalities that's not quite you. Yeah. And it's okay to be you. And I think as you be you, you will draw people that are attracted to you. And those people that don't fit into that mold and don't fit into that circle, it's okay. You may lose friends, but it's best that you do lose them being you than keep them trying to be somebody else.
And I think that's why we talked about all of those values and personalities and things like that make up who you are, because the way that is different from what you do is, if I take away what you do, what do you have left, right? So if I base my full identity in I'm a pastor, I'm a preacher, or not even I'm a pastor, because pastoring could be like characteristics, right? Yeah. But I'm a preacher who only speaks in churches. What happens if you take away my church? Yeah. Who am I?
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting. That I believe that some people hide behind what they do. And to avoid the reality of who they are. Does that make sense? So really, I guess what I'm trying to say, don't allow the success in what you do prevent you from being still being a good person, a kind person. Just because, you could be a successful doctor, and, just because you're a successful doctor doesn't mean that now you don't have to be genuine. You don't have to be kind. You don't have to be all these things that make up who you are. Because again, like you said, what happens when the title is gone now?
Yeah.
You still need to be true to yourself. And I think that's where we need to kind of fall on,
And I think for me, for several seasons in my life, I was putting the onus on what I did and not who I am. And so, just going degree after degree, certification after certification, accomplishments, like checklists, tasks, all that kind of stuff. And I finally had to come up with my own 3-word sentence. And that was, who is Leslie? I am enough.
I am enough.
Just with what I have, if you take away all the accolades and all that kind of stuff, like, I am enough. And that was my 3-word sentence that was just fitting for me.
Right.
Letting me know, like, I am very achievement oriented.
Right.
And so I often have to check myself, like, you are not what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had to be very careful with that and just come up with this sentence, so much so to the point that every morning at 7 a.m., I have an alarm that goes off and says, I'm enough. Let's do this.
Let's do it. I like that.
Just live out of who you are, not what other people want you to be or just solely your accomplishments.
I like that. I am enough. I, honestly, for those of you who are listening and watching as well, if you're in a relationship and that person or that group of people can't accept who you are, if that's not enough for them, that is, and you continue to try to be in that is a toxic relationship. If you continue to try to be in that, and where you're giving all that you have, and that's not enough for them, and you try to be something that you're not. Again, that's toxic. You don't need that in your life. Free yourself, because your health and your mental state, your peace is more important than someone else's likes, someone else's approval.
Yeah, I think so. And I know we have to wrap it up soon, but one of the ways that you can find more about or create really who you are is to do affirmations.
Okay.
Assignments and practices, I believe, should be something to personalize and not just a task to be done.
Okay.
So for me, I have daily affirmations. I'm enough is one of them. But for me, it's not just, I said the affirmation, that's a check off the day.
Right.
Some affirmations actually become like pillars, right? They really speak to who you are and you stand on them.
Yeah.
So for example, good affirmations are I do this, or my life is.
Okay.
But deeper affirmations start with I am.
Okay.
So for those who are even watching or listening, I want you to, for your homework, nobody comes to a podcast for homework, but I think this could be helpful for you. I want you to come up with good affirmations, which is I do, or I something, or even deeper affirmations, which are I am.
So give us some example of. Do you have an example of those three?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like a do one might be an affirmation for me. I choose to have my life filled with positive people. I'm a radiant person, full of positive energy. My life is filled with joy, love, fun, and friendship.
These are all do's.
These are all do's,
Okay.
right? But deeper affirmation is something like, I am confident in my abilities. I accept myself for who I am.
Yeah.
I am optimistic and have a great attitude towards everything. So I'm speaking into, this is who Leslie is, and this is not just what Leslie does.
Got you.
So, and I think it's important to keep up with those affirmations, and it's what we say to ourselves repeatedly that we begin to believe. Yeah. And I touched on it a little bit in the beginning of this podcast, but I think it's so important to know what you believe about yourself.
Absolutely.
But like I said, if I can get you to, if I'm in a positive state, I should say, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in a healthy place, and I can get you to see me the way that I see me, like, to me, that's greatness.
Right. What if they don't see you the way you see you?
I think at the end of the day, you just have to trust who it is that you are, and you can't be motivated by people, because there has to be on the inside of you what you truly believe about yourself is what matters most.
Absolutely.
Because if you are motivated solely by what other people think, then they create who you are, not you.
I like that.
Don't put me on the spot. I'm an interviewer here, first of all.
I told you I'm throwing it back. So who are you, Leslie?
I am enough.
I am enough.
Who are you?
I am a husband. I am a motivator. I'm a father. I am inspiration. For those of you watching, who are you? Those of you listening, who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Who are you? And I think it could be ever evolving, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So who I was 10 years ago is probably not the person that I am now.
Right.
I'm saying that, you know,
right.
With
It's
personality, still, right? But
it still makes up who you are, but yeah, you evolve, you mature, and we've already talked about that in past episodes, so y'all check that out. But yeah,
but I am is so powerful. Like, what did God say to Moses when he was in the burning bush?
I am.
He said, I am that I am. Moses, who goes there? Who are you? I am.
I am.
And I love what God did there, because God is so infinite that he didn't even put anything after I am, because God is like, you can't define me.
Right.
I am that I am. Whatever you need me to be, that's what I am.
That's who moment. I am. Absolutely.
I just think that's powerful.
I love it.
So if he's the God of the I am, I can do some I am stuff too, because God is in me. So for your homework, I want you to come up with a list of affirmations for yourself. You can do some good ones, which is, this is what I do, this is what I attract. Yeah. And then you can do some deeper ones, which will be very helpful. This is who I am.
Listen, and even with that, please share with us those things. If you're watching on YouTube, put it on YouTube, or hit us up on our social media sites, or social media, Caleb and Leslie. That's on Instagram. CalebandLesliePodcast.com. You can check us out there. You can follow us. All of our stuff is on there as well. CalebandLesliePodcast.com. Hit us up. Even Gmail. Hit us up on our email. CalebandLeslie@gmail.com. We would love to hear and see your list if you share with us. We want to be inspired by who you are, and maybe we can add some of those things to our list as well.
Yeah. So I think that's good. I mean, this is what I have a coach for. So I'm not telling you to do something that I haven't done. Like, I have spent the hours and the money to learn this stuff, but I want to share it with you because I honestly and truly believe that it has made and is making a difference. So.
Right. Yeah. So we love it. Be sure to do your homework. Thank you for tuning in to Caleb and Leslie in real life, our podcast. Listen, if you want to continue to follow us, Caleb and Leslie, I already said that. Social media, YouTube, like, subscribe, share, podcast, like and share and rate. If you want to be a blessing, you can hit us up on our Cash App, Caleb and Leslie as well. So thank y'all so much for checking us out. We'll see you. We'll be back in your house next week on Monday with some dope stuff. So we love you guys. Peace.
Talk to you soon.